okay? So I feel like there is an emotional situation here. It might have been very, very turbulent in the past. All the previous interaction with this person might have been turbulent. And yet you have an opportunity here to fix the situation. And I just want you to know that it's worth fixing, because I do feel like the other person, you might not fully understand what the other person went through. You might not fully comprehend how the other person feels about you. And so by letting your guard down and approaching them and having this conversation, I feel that it would open up a floodgate between you and the other person, so that you come to a state of mutual understanding. But more so, it's allowing you to really understand how this person feels about you, because I feel like they felt abandoned, they felt unloved, they felt uncared for, and they felt like you took the relationship very lightly. You're okay to move on, but they're not. Okay, so I feel like what you didn't realize at the time was they felt a great deal more about you than you might have felt about them. And this is something you might not have realized. And that's why they harbor a little bit more resentment, and they have that anger within them, as if they felt like you might have abandoned them. Okay? This is not to say that you did anything wrong, Libras. It takes two to, create a situation, right? It takes two to tango, and there's always like differing perspective. But I feel like you understand things from your side because you're living that experience, right? But I also feel like as a Libra, we like to see both sides of the story. And so this is allowing you to kind of step over into their side of the story, in their point of view, wearing their shoes, to be able to understand how the situation emotionally really affected them, okay? As a result of this reconciliation and clearing the air, what I have here is I have the Fool, which is a brand new beginnings, okay? And the beginnings here, it's wedged between two fives. So we have Five of Wands on one side, in the past, conflict. And then we have the Five of Cups, and the Five of Cups is about regrets, okay? I feel like whatever newfound knowledge that you can extract from this conversation, from this person, from this past situation, it's allowing you to see how your actions, I feel, affect other people. And what I feel about this is you might have, done things in a very light-hearted manner, and you feel like, oh, it doesn't really, hurt anyone. It doesn't really affect anyone. But in the process of understanding how it really deeply affected somebody that you care about, I feel like you're going to tread carefully. You're going to do things with a lot more purpose, with a lot more meaning. And you're also going to start to wonder as well, what kind of things or behaviors can I leave behind? The Five of Cups, crying over spilled milk. But at the same time, this is like an emotional response that we have to something. Letting go of pre-programmed emotional responses that might not be healthy. For example, shying away from conflict, not sticking around to have these difficult conversations. And then not being able to be very clear or very precise when it comes to the course of action that we decide to take, okay? So I feel like this person is boldly, I feel like they're boldly, in the way that they are, in the way that they interact with you, and in the way that their personality is formed. They are very different from you. And as a result of it, they're teaching you a lot about emotional expression. Acting angry when you're angry, being upset. It's like they're teaching you that emotions are okay. If you're upset, show that you're upset. Scream, yell, do whatever it is. Let these emotions out. And then I feel like from your perspective, they're learning a lot about you, about emotional control, about emotional moderation. But at the same time, I feel like one of the major lessons that you can extract from this is knowing what type of emotional responses that you can leave behind that is no longer serving you, that's no longer healthy for you. And a lot of it is the conflict avoidance, okay? A lot of it is like when things get a little bit too heated, when things get a little bit too hot, You want to retreat, you want to withdraw. And I feel like over time, you might start to realize that when you withdraw like that, it might hurts the other person. It might make them feel rejected. It might make them feel confused and they're not really sure why you are withdrawing, if it's something that's personal to them, that's why you're withdrawing, or if it's just a pre-programmed response that it's like a defense mechanism of yours. But explaining to this person these things and being able to understand these things within yourself, I feel that it is a very important lesson when it comes to, emotional maturation. Okay. And so that's what I'm feeling here. The last three cards echo the same theme. Okay. So first of all, there's a lot more communication coming through. We have here the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is like, quick, fast, swift messages, information messages, clarity, and just having the sheer access to information and just the sheer amount of information that's coming through. I feel like there's a lot of communication back and forth between you and a person. And I do sense for many of you, this is like resounding. I'm hearing resounding, coming through from work, coming through from coworkers, coming through from, some type of a work institution, an educational institution, higher institution of learning as well. So I feel like there's a lot of emails, a lot of electronic communication, potentially a lot of phone calls, missed phone calls, playing phone tags and text messages and things like that that needs to be answered in a timely manner. So I'm feeling a lot of communication coming through in the modern channels. So that needs to be responded to. They are quite sensitive. And so make sure that, whatever was sent, make sure it's read. And then whatever is read is responded to. Okay. So I feel like you are going to be in very high demand this month. And I also feel like there might be, especially if you're in a position where you're managing projects, handling people, managing people even, or doing both, you're going to be in very high demand to kind of like put out fires, to resolve things, to solve problems, to kind of like put things back in their place, or even put people back in their place. So that means a lot of, boundary drawing, and especially putting people like, telling people where they belong. Okay. Putting people in their place is what I'm hearing. And I do feel for many of you, there is a relationship here, and I have the Hierophant and the Four of Swords. Okay, the Hierophant is a relationship where there is a commitment and status involved. Okay, so this is like a relationship that is basically pretty serious. It's like, you're calling somebody your significant other, calling them your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and there's an element of family involved here where their family, they know your family members, etc. Okay. And so I feel as if there is a relationship here, and it might have gone a little bit stale. It might have been on the back burner. You might not have time to tend to it. And so I feel like there's an opportunity here as well to reassess the direction of this relationship. If you still want to stay in it, if you're still in love with the person, if you're still feeling, that sense of newness and vitality whenever you see this person, I feel like you're re-examining some things, or I feel that you are at least looking over some things, reassessing, and trying to figure out as well whether or not it is something that you want to stay in long term. And I feel like you are assessing whether or not to stay in this relationship, or whether it's still emotionally fulfilling for you. I feel that there's a little bit of an emotional rift between you and a partner, especially if you are dealing with a water sign. Okay, so a Pisces, a Cancer, or a Scorpio. Especially if you're dealing with a water sign, I'm sensing that they really reached out and solicited you in the past, but you might have been busy. You might have not trusted their intention, or you might, for whatever the reason is, there was something going on that was like on the front burner for you. And so you might not have, return this person's advances. So I feel like, they were reaching out. They wanted to be near you. They wanted to be close. They want to kind of like strengthen that emotional connection, or at least they wanted to connect with you emotionally. But I feel like for whatever you were dealing with before, the connection was not strong, or the connection wasn't really reciprocated from your end. There's an opportunity here. If you feel this is something that you still want, there's an opportunity here to kind of fix the situation. So we have a lot of do-overs here. And then if this is not a connection that you no longer feel emotionally invested in, and I feel like for many of you, it could be a marriage even. And I feel that with the Four of Swords, it's like a stoppage in communication, stoppage and lack of movement when it comes to, seeing eye to eye, being able to communicate with each other in a way where information things get communicated. Okay, so I feel like it might have just been like communication that is not meaningful, that's being shared between the two of you, or there has been a lack of communication. If there has been a lack of communication, I feel between you and a specific person that is quite prominent in your life, you might have felt like they walked away. You might have felt that, it's over and done with, and you might have felt that there's no opportunity for it to come back together, or to resolve the differences, or even to clear up the air and clear up the misunderstandings. I do feel like there's an opportunity here for two people to really come together and try to fix this situation. Okay, so that is all that I have for you here. And I'm not seeing anything to indicate to me like financial woes or anything like that. And so in the world of tarot, no news is always good news. Okay, so I feel like once again, this reading is heavily relationship focused, as it has been for your sign for the past few months. And so I feel that there's opportunities here for do-overs, for reconciliation, for making things right and making amends, and to, clear up the air with another person. And I feel that you're treading into an emotional realm that you are not 100% comfortable in. And I feel this unease with you, coming into the month of March. But I do feel, in the time of Pisces, when the sun is in Pisces, it's like the boundless ocean. Okay, it involves a lot of healing. It involves a lot of letting go. And the boundless ocean, the bottomless ocean, or the ocean with the body of water without limits, what it means to me in general is that we can forgive and forget. We can learn to, we can learn to let a lot of things go. And we can release resentment and release all of the emotional baggage that we've had in the past, because, the ocean washes away everything and makes things clean. And so what I feel for this month is you're exploring and charting the emotional waters that you might not have been willing or able to in the past. But I feel that the month of March, it brings about a lot of healing energy as we release and let go and even make amends and reconcile and, learn to forgive another person, or even letting the other person, make amends and to forgive past transgressions. Okay, so I feel like it's a really therapeutic month for many of you. Just be very clear with communication so that, we don't have cross wires, so that we don't dig ourselves deeper and deeper into into further miscommunication and misunderstandings. All right. I do hope the reading finds you well, and I hope that it has been helpful in, unraveling some of the things that you might be questioning or might be going through for this month.